Hello everyone, I want to continue today with the topic of deep hooks. I know these videos are not very popular, unfortunately, but in reality, they are extremely important. Important for getting rid of attachments, because attachments cling exactly to these deep hooks from the perspective of inner work and from the perspective of exiting the matrix of exiting illusions, exiting global structures that hold us inside. These topics matter deeply, even if not many people are ready to work with them. So I want to ask everyone for whom these videos truly matter. Please like this video and leave a comment. I would be very grateful because these simple actions help the video move forward and be shown to other people, people for whom this information could completely change their lives. That is exactly what I am trying to do on this channel, to change lives for the better and help people step out of dark matrix structures. What today's focus will be, today I want to continue the topic of envy, but today we will speak less about where envy comes from and more about how to protect ourselves from it. Dark envy and why it is dangerous. Envy is mostly dark in most cases. There is also light envy, as we discussed before, a kind and envy. When you think, yes, I cannot do this myself, but I am sincerely happy for you. That kind of envy does not require protection, but dark envy can be destructive. It damages personality and creates deep hooks inside a person, especially if self-esteem has not been worked through. And today, we will talk about that as well. We will also talk about what to do if you yourself feel envy toward someone. There is nothing wrong with that. Envy does not make us bad people. What envy really is, as I said before, envy is the feeling of I cannot reach this. I am not the kind of person who can achieve this. That is why I envy. Deep inside, I want to be like that person or have what they have, but I believe that it is unreachable for me. Because of this belief, resistance appears. Envy appears, but all that is needed is to work with these feelings, to see these deep hooks and allow yourself to become someone who can achieve this, to allow yourself to be worthy of what you truly want and to break these deep limiting beliefs. Revisiting the causes of envy, let's briefly recall the previous video and talk again about the causes of envy. One of them is a lack of self-confidence. Envy appears when a person feels inferior, unsuccessful, or unworthy of something better. That moment when a person believes, I cannot become someone, and therefore I envy. Childhood programming and the worker mindset. For example, when in childhood parents constantly say, you must study well, then study more, so that someone might hire you for a good job. They never say, you can become someone who hires others. So the child grows up with the belief I must work hard so that someone above me might have mercy on me, might look at me and say, well, you tried hard enough, I will hire you, with this message. And later in life, this person envies those who created their own business, their own factory, their own store, while they themselves are forced to work for someone else. And envy appears, hidden envy and hatred as a mask. This envy can be hidden. A person may say, I hate all entrepreneurs, they are all frauds, they are bad people, but in reality, this hatred hides envy. They say, I am honest, I am a good worker, I suffer because they are bad, but deep inside, they want exactly that life. Yet they were taught, you must work for an uncle, and never become the uncle. And you should even be grateful that the uncle pays you at all. So hatred becomes a mask, a psychological defense, an illusion where the person tries to feel morally superior, even though inside there is still pain that someone else passed them on the road to happiness. The belief that paths are assigned at birth. Inside there remains the feeling that someone else was given a path to success, and I was not. This leads us to another cause of envy, The feeling of injustice and disappointment. Why did he get it and I did not? This creates inner irritation, especially when from childhood we are taught there is Bill Gates and there is you. You are not Bill Gates. As if from birth someone has a mark on their forehead, chosen, and someone else does not, as if everything was decided in advance. Working with people and seeing these hooks, I see this very often in my work with people. I work with people individually, I help them find these deep hooks and work through them immediately. I show them where exactly these hooks are, and if someone needs this help, my email is in the description. Very often, parents do not see their child at all. A child is not a blank sheet. A child is a soul, often an experienced soul, with knowledge already inside. But parents judge from their own level, from their own limitations, and when the child behaves differently, they say, "You are wrong. You are not like others. You will never become someone important." They do not even understand how successful people think, how creative people live, how leaders function. They simply do not know. I will continue with the next chunk in the same style. Just say continue, continue. Same rules, same style, no additions. Or how parents pass their limits to the child. Parents often speak from their own pain, from their disappointments. They look at the child through the prism of their own unfulfilled life, and they say, "Do not dream, do not want too much, do not stand out," because standing out once hurt them. And through these words, through these emotional reactions, deep hooks are formed. The child begins to believe that being themselves is dangerous, that wanting more is unsafe, that success brings punishment. So later in life, when this perceives someone successful, envy appears, not because the person is bad, but because success touches an old inner wound. It reminds the soul of what it was forced to abandon, why attachments cling to childhood trauma. This is exactly where attachments cling. They do not cling to the surface. They cling deep to childhood trauma, to beliefs of victimhood, to learned helplessness, to the feeling I am not allowed, I cannot, I should not. That is why many people say, "I removed surface entities, but something still remains. I feel it, I know it is there, but it does not leave." And the reason is simple. It is sitting on a deep hook, not a scratch, but a harpoon driven deep into childhood pain. Why entities do not leave when asked, if you just say, "Go away, leave me," nothing happens, because the attachment answers as "Why should I leave?" You still believe everything I need to stay here. As long as the trauma is alive, as long as the belief is alive, the hook remains active. And attachments are very good at disguising themselves. They hide behind introjects, behind inner voices, behind thoughts like this is just who I am. I must endure. I must suffer. I must be patient. But this is not you. This is the trauma speaking, the illusion of I have no trauma. Very often people say, "I do not have childhood trauma. Everything was fine. My parents were good. Nothing bad happened." But when we start working, when we look closely, there is harpoon after harpoon. The person simply does not see them. And the attachment loves this situation. It whispers, "You are fine. Nothing is wrong. Do not look there, because if you look, it will have to leave." A key question to ask yourself: if you feel that something does not go away, ask yourself honestly, what pain from childhood still hurts me? What do I avoid remembering? What do I immediately defend when someone touches it? If you think I had perfect parents, I had a perfect childhood, and I remember nothing, then most likely there is a huge dinosaur buried there. Something very big, something the psyche decided to erase in order to survive. Memory loss as a sign of trauma. One of the clearest signs of deep childhood trauma is missing memory. When a person says, "I do not remember myself before 7 or 9, or school age. That is not normal. That is repression. The Saicha chose to forget because remembering was too painful, but forgetting does not heal. The pain remains deep, deep inside, and when a similar situation appears, the attachment pulls the hook and the pain bursts out, not as memory, but as overwhelming emotion. Emotional explosions without clear reason. A person may suddenly cry, feel rage, feel despair, without understanding why. Inside, everything is tearing apart, because the situation resembles the original trauma. The attachment knows exactly where to pull. And this is why deep hooks must be worked through. Surface work is not enough. Continuing the work with deep hooks. I have already spoken a lot about how to work with deep hooks, about defensive mechanisms, about emotional reactions, and what they point to. I explain this in detail in my streams and in closed spaces where we can go deeper without rushing. These reactions are not random, they are signals. They show exactly where the hook is. The why manipulation is the foundation of deep hooks. Deep hooks are built on manipulation. First of all, on emotional manipulation. They manipulate feelings, guilt, shame, fear, obligation, and this works both on a personal level and on a global level. The same mechanisms that control a person also control societies. Small scale and large scale are mirrors of each other. When you understand how it works inside, you begin to see it outside. What this video is meant to give you. I hope this video helped you see something new, gave you direction, showed where to look, where to begin working. Do not ignore these signals. They are keys. I will continue with the final part next. Say continue, continuing, continuing, same flow, same voices, no additions. Why support and connection matter at the end of this work. I always want to remind you support matters, warm words, feedback, presence. They are not small things. They help maintain balance so that sharing, guiding, and holding space does not turn into burnout. This path is not light. Carrying awareness, holding perception, staying open to the subtle plane. All of this requires energy, and mutual support is what allows this work to continue. To why deeper spaces exist. There are things that cannot be explained in short videos. Some layers require time, safety, and continuity. That is why deeper spaces exist, places for inner work, for slow unfolding, for careful exploration, where people come not to consume information, but to transform, where a person can arrive one way and gradually become different. Inner change as a living process. Real change is not instant. It happens when beliefs shift, when old frameworks dissolve, when perception widens, when a person begins to see themselves and the world more clearly, without fear, without rigid filters, without imposed templates. This is inner work, and it works far deeper than any surface method. Validation from experience. It is especially valuable when people who work in psychology, in helping professions, confirm that these approaches actually work, that techniques help. Find deep hooks and carefully release them. This confirmation matters because it shows that inner truth is universal even when language differs. Thank you for listening, for feeling, for being present, for walking this path. I send warmth to you and care and remind you everything you need is already inside you. You just have to return to it step by step, without violence, without rushing, with honesty.